No chemistry, but great connection. That's our topic today. And guess what? I have a special surprise. My beloved's in the house. And if you can see her name on the screen, what is it? What's your name?
My name's Paula.
It's not Princess?
Yeah, Queen. I don't know what it is for
Queen.
today.
So I'm so excited to be sharing her with the group. And today we're going to talk about our initial encounter. No, I don't know if it'd be an encounter, but our initial connection, which started off with no chemistry.
I mean, we started off with conversations directly in the apps is what we started.
Yeah. So, but when I say no chemistry, we weren't each other's type.
We weren't.
Okay.
No.
So let's kind of go back in time. Matter of fact, I'll share my perspective and you share yours. Okay.
Okay.
By the way, folks, she wasn't, we did not rehearse this. Okay. So I guess it's almost been about a year ago. We connected on a dating app. We connected on Bumble. For those that want to know which app we connected on. Do you remember that connection?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And we had this brief exchange of text messages. You initiated the conversation. Okay. And I thought, oh, she's kind of cute, so we engaged in conversation. And our first conversation was the discussion of masculine and feminine polarity.
Yes. Yes.
And we each had a difference of opinion on this. And I would say we went, 3 or 4 exchanges.
We went back and forth quite a bit, and then I think we just dropped it. It finally spent itself.
Who was the next person to communicate? Was it you or me?
I think we just dropped it, and the next thing we knew, we didn't see or talk to each other for months, and then we saw each other on.
Do you remember the next app we saw each other? Match.com. Okay. And I wrote you, and I said, "Do you remember me?"
Yeah.
And did you remember me? You vaguely remember me. I mean, you had so many men in your queue,
right.
So, and I think we only had one exchange there. And what I mean by exchange, we had a text message, an email. I mean, since it was the
kind of like we didn't really do well the last time, so we're not really talking too much this time.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was probably 3 or 4 months after that initial conversation. And then 6 months after that, you messaged me on Hinge.
I messaged you?
You messaged me first.
Okay. All right.
What? You don't remember that?
I think I said something about one of your pictures, maybe.
Okay. You did compliment. No, you complimented my book. The books I have listed.
Yes.
Okay. So in my dating profile, I had a list. You see all those books behind me? I had them sideways and I took a picture so you could see the books.
It was about the Buddha. If the Buddha dated.
If the Buddha dated. Oh, it's on this side. If the Buddha dated.
I said your name, and that's what started it.
And we started.
So we had a little tete-a-tete, but we also started getting off on that, the messaging part of the app, talking about masculine and feminine, didn't we?
No, not in that exchange. No? But okay, so let me tell you guys what happened. So she sent me a message that really, and I have it saved in my favorites, so give me a second to find it. But in her message, she said, oh, wait, here it is. Wait a minute. Where is it? Oh, shoot. I'm sorry I'm taking so long to talk to keep it. This is what I wrote. Yeah. He wrote this. I'm a curious soul about pretty much all things in life and thrive on the inquiry of it all. If you get what I mean, I believe those who don't ask questions lack not only awareness, but quite possibly imagination.
Yes.
And that triggered me in a happy way because quite frankly, and ladies, I'm sure you've experienced this, men, you've experienced this, where you're connected with someone that they don't ask you personal questions. They don't inquire into who you are. And just the fact that you wrote that, I'm like, okay, I'm game to talk.
I mean, I think at that point I had been on a few dates.
Yeah.
I spent 2 years not dating, by the way, and finally got back into it right around the first encounter with you, really. So I kind of wasn't ready when we first connected, but I think you had asked me something about curiosity, and I was like, if you're not curious, forget it.
Yeah.
I had been on so many dates where guys were like, not asking me a thing, and it would get to the point where you're 45 minutes later kind of doing the whole,
don't you want to know something about me?
Yeah.
Well, quite frankly, and it fascinates me, you would think just because of what I do for a living, women would be curious, and I've had so many instances where I've never been asked about what I do beyond what they knew I did, kind of thing. Anyway, so we decided we communicated on a Saturday. We agreed to have a telephone call on a Saturday. Do you remember that?
I do. We talked for like 3 hours.
We talked for 3 hours, and about an hour and a half in, we realized that we had several close personal friends. Like we ran in the same circle of people.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
Yeah. And it's like, oh my God, you know them? And like, yeah, and you know them. And why I think that was important for me, tell me if this was the same for you, is it created a sense of familiarity that oftentimes doesn't exist in the dating realm, because most of the time we meet total strangers. I mean, to the extent that you and I were strangers, but we had this connection.
Yeah. I mean, I think that probably more importantly, it wasn't necessarily the who that we knew together. It was just a conversation that we bonded on more than anything, you know. In other words, I don't think that it's required for people to have some, you know, previous connections, that they know people who know people who know
well,
people
yes, but if you look throughout history, anyone you married was somebody in your circle. So your tribe, your village, your town, the college you went to. I mean, up until really online dating, most of us connected with people who at least was one degree of separation. Yeah. And my point in bringing this up is, well, at least I can only speak for myself. The fact that she knew not only these friends, but the circle my friends run into, and I call it my spiritual community. Yeah. So there are a lot of woo-woo people who are into personal development, self-help, spiritual work, that sort of thing. Therapists are in the community. So when I heard that, I'm like, okay, we've got to meet, or at least that's how I felt.
Yeah. I mean, I think we just had a really strong connection. We had a lot to talk about.
Yeah. By the way, someone's asking, what is your name? And I'm going, it's listed right there on the camera. It's Paula, by the way. Did I not say it out loud?
You did.
Okay. All right. So we decided we were going to meet the very next day on a Sunday. And
by the way, that almost didn't happen.
Really?
Because my girlfriend, she will not be named here, but my girlfriend said to me, I was texting her that night. I was at a live music event.
Okay.
And I was texting her and I'm like, I'm going to meet this guy. I had a really good conversation with him. And, you know, we started chatting about this and that. And she says, what does he do? And I said, well, he's a dating and relationship coach. And she said, send me his picture. And I was like, okay. And so I go back to the app and I snap the app and I send it off to her. She's like, Paula, you talked with him already. I said, I did. What did I do? And she says, you blew him off, or he blew you off, or something.
Yeah, but we said that in the communication in Hinge as well, that we connected before.
We did. But by the time we got, no, it was in Match, I think. But by the time we got to Hinge, I did not remember until that night.
I cannot believe I'm unmemorable. Ladies, what do you think of that? Just kidding. So we ended up meeting on a Sunday morning at around 10 o'clock for coffee. Coffee. Now, let me just say this. It was at a nice restaurant in Marina del Rey overlooking the water. So it wasn't just a Starbucks kind of coffee. But the idea, we wanted something a little more informal. I mean, I don't think...
It was just a coffee meet, you know?
Well, in fact, did I not say, can we just meet, not treat it as a date? Do you remember me talking?
You did say something.
And why do you think I did that?
I mean,
or do you want me to tell why?
You tell why.
Well, because and folks, you know, I'm a dating and relationship coach. I'm here to support those to, you know, have the relationship of their desires. And I think these days there's so much pressure on the first meeting that when it's a date with all of the obligatory expectations associated with the date, it puts too much pressure. So when I said to you, hey, can we just be two people meeting as if we're friends, and if something if it germinates from there, then great.
Yeah.
By the way, nice. Did you like germinate? But why are you giving me that look? So anyway, we ended up meeting. And what was your initial thought of me?
Well, this is where the chemistry thing comes in.
Yeah.
So I think I was really, I was astounded. I mean, I've certainly had good conversations before, but this one hit, the day before our phone conversation. And then we spent 5 hours, by the way, at this coffee date.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of conversation around some of the things that, we had blown each other off about in the first place. And
oh my God, we had a total debate about romance and dating, courtship and masculine and feminine. Oh my God, we had like debates. We still talk about it incessantly, and I'm exaggerating.
Much a conversation. But I think at the end of the day, neither one of us kissed. We gave each other a really big hug.
Well, by the way, the benefit of a coffee date is it doesn't create the environment with alcohol, evening, and music to find yourself in a very intimate space. And you saw the video I did about first kiss might be the most dangerous.
Yeah.
So I actually think there's a value of coffee dates, because if there's a connection, it will lead to another date. And if there's no connection, then you haven't swapped spit with one another.
Yeah. So Angela's asking, what did I like about you when I met you? And I think and it's a really good question, because I think when I came home, I thought to myself, I really like this guy, but I feel like there's a little bit of sort of neutrality, and I was feeling it from him, So it was like we were having these great conversations. Really, I remember thinking, really great communicator. And is he really my type? Yeah. And I think that, that being the title of this video, we should probably address that piece, that for me, I remember thinking, God, I could spend all day sitting and talking with you, which we then proceeded to do for the next
10 days. Well, so, I think my initial reaction, oh, you're cute, like I had that, but I don't think I thought of you as my type. But in retrospect, my type's been all over the map in my lifetime. But there was almost I'm going to say the universe was blocking us energetically from a physical perspective. And let me share why this is so important. So we ended up giving each other, we had this 5-hour conversation, and we were going down rabbit holes on different things about our past, about our present, about our future. So we got a flavor of each other, but there wasn't this physical draw to one another. What the value of that was, the physical part wasn't overriding the getting to know you part. And this is where I really want to put a thumbnail here.
Yeah.
Is that we then 2 days later, I think you reached out to me with a text, and I said, can we talk on the phone? And this is the way I remember it. And by the way, folks, what I've learned in life is when you're in a relationship with someone, one person's memory could be totally different than another person's memory. So just know that as we share, I'm always going to say the way I viewed it. Okay. So I remember the conversation. You said, so Jonathan, what about us?
Oh, no, I did not say
That's the way you said it.
Oh, in the phone call?
In that phone call on that Tuesday.
Yes.
So I'm like, well, I said I'm feeling neutral. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. And actually, I think I came back and went, yeah, I kind of am too.
Yeah.
I kind of am too. And then we proceeded to unpack that.
Oh my God. So we spent 5 hours. 5
hours maybe on
that phone call, unpacking why we were both in neutrality, because here's the reality. The title of this video is No Chemistry But Great Connection. So when I think of chemistry, and I'm not sure you're aware of the different levels of chemistry I talk about in my coaching. I say there's physical chemistry, intellectual chemistry, emotional chemistry, spiritual chemistry. I even have one called creative chemistry for
creative.
Yeah, well, there's people who are creative have a unique attraction about them.
Okay.
Artists, musicians, people, comedians. Adam Sandler is not the best looking guy, but because of his creativity, it makes him more attractive.
Yeah.
So, and I'm talking about chemistry from an attraction standpoint. What ended up happening in that 5-hour date is we were hitting on intellectual and emotional chemistry. I think the physical chemistry by design, and I'm talking a universal God, universal spirit, Gus, designed us to be blocked from, or at least like a buffer
During that time.
During that time.
So
that's the way I viewed it.
All right.
How was it for you?
So the question I think is coming up probably for the audience, and I'm seeing it coming back through here.
And I can post these things. By the way, BC says Paula's very likable. Aw, thank you, BC.
Of why were we neutral?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, to address the chemistry piece, I mean, all of us probably, you know, have in our mind what our person, right, is going to look like, what they're going to feel like, how you're going to feel when you're with them, that type of thing. And you know, I mean, I have a list. I've had a list for a while called My Ultimate Man. And my ultimate man list has changed over the years. It's gone from like, you know, he makes X amount of dollars and he, you know, looks like George Clooney and, you know, that kind of thing, to more about how he makes me feel.
Did he have six-pack abs?
Yeah, he did. He had six-pack abs.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I called them hot, HAWT.
Okay.
Yeah, not abs.
Okay.
But, you know, we all have in our mind what it is that person looks like or feels like or whatever. And somehow, you know, when we go on these meets for coffee or even a drink or whatever, like 9 times out of 10, they're not the person you envision in your mind, right? So, I mean, it comes down to like, what is chemistry? Like, what are you looking for? You know, and why are we so pinned down to an idea that this person has to like meet this, and this in order to.
Well, I think we could go into a psychological, conversation about the fact that it's human nature to filter based on those things. We've been biologically designed to, women's looking for the strongest man to protect them from, the cave environments, that sort of thing. Men are looking for the most fertile women. I'm thinking cave people stuff. And it probably, but also the conditioning, where your cultural conditioning, your sociological conditioning, the conditioning of social media and television. I mean, Paula knows my dream woman looked like a young version of Linda Carter and was worth $20 million. I'm like, why not? If you're going to go big,
Yeah.
You're way cuter, by the way. So anyway, so what ended up happening in this conversation was we're like, wow, we're not each other's type, but we were curious about one another. So what happened next is really the piece of this puzzle, because to the extent that we thought we didn't have chemistry, we actually did have intellectual chemistry, we had emotional chemistry, we had creative chemistry, spiritual chemistry. What was being blocked was that physical desire for one another. And I think traditional dating today is all built on attraction, entertainment, romance, and physical connection, hoping that that's going to launch the opportunity for relationship. And what was happening for us was something completely different, because for the next 10 days, we end up talking on the phone every day for hours upon hours per day.
Yeah, it would start like an hour and then I'd go, I have to hang up, and then you'd call me. Like 3 hours would go by. But I think, at some point, I don't know, maybe day, and this was literally every single day. At some point, probably 4 or 5 days into it. Yeah. And I was really starting to feel like, we were sharing stories and our past experiences, our romances, our family, crazy stuff that has gone on, health stuff, your child, etc. And children, like the whole 9 yards. But what happened around, I don't know, it was probably day 4 or 5. Yeah. I wrote this big, long journal entry and I shared it with him and we started chatting about it. And about day 5, he says to me, I was telling a story of some sort, and how you do with friends, you hear a story and you just go, oh my God, I freaking love you. Right. Yeah. Like it just comes out of you because you just have this thing, like you just completely enjoy this person. This is how this whole thing started to develop. And we put each other in the friend zone, but that was the beauty. That was the chemistry. That was the piece that started building.
Because we weren't we weren't performing for one another. We weren't trying to prove. In fact, I was almost doing the opposite with you.
You were actually.
I was like trying to convince you, like, I'm not your guy, kind of thing.
Well, you were helping me with my dating profile.
Oh, that's right.
And I was you. You were talking to somebody. You were like, "What you know?"
Oh, that's right. I was talking to another woman. And what's interesting about that is that we unbeknownst to us, we were building a friendship. And so by the time it got to the day 5 where I go, I freaking love you. And it wasn't I'm romantically in love with you or anything, but what it was I saw myself in you.
Yeah.
Like that's what that meant. Like I see myself in you, your personality, your humor. Oh my God. Paula has off the charts humor. I love her. It's not a quirky personality. You have very quick, what? Oh,
Deborah nailed it. We weren't attached to the outcome.
Where'd you see that? Oh yeah, exactly. Deborah, exactly. So that's a good point. During those 10 days we were speaking, we were not attached to an outcome, but something else was happening. It was we were building this friendship. But at the same time, and I told you about this morning. I've done this before. I've connected with people online. Mostly it's long distance dynamics where there's a friendship that gets built and I'd have to pull the plug on the friendship because I realize this person isn't going to be a real friend. And what I mean by a real friend is social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends. That kind of friendship wasn't going to happen in those previous experiences. So I pulled the plug on friendship. And by day 10, and maybe I'm fast forwarding a little bit, I woke up that Thursday morning. We had talked the night before. She goes, oh, we should get together for a drink. And I'm like,
I was a little bit having like, maybe I've blown him off a little too fast too. I mean, I think we were both starting to lean in, but weren't really sure. Like we definitely didn't want to get out of the friend zone because we were having such, I mean, I remember saying to you, in fact, you know, the feeling scene painting came from this, which was that I had said this to a few of my friends, like I had never felt so seen and held and witnessed and heard, you know, from another human being as I had with Jonathan. Yes, Angela, I'm going to answer that question. She asked about, did I repeat affirmations or pray?
We'll share that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to get to questions in a few minutes. I want to kind of get to the story.
So that's why I had asked, like, maybe we should get together for a drink.
So, and it happened, I remember it was on a Wednesday and I believe I was recording a video podcast. Yeah. And the following day I was going to be driving. I had to go to a funeral and I knew where the funeral was at was literally going to be kind of driving by near where she lives. So I woke up that morning going, fuck, I really dig her. Like, I mean, I was like, I'm really dig her. And I called you up and I said, I'm really feeling like I dig you. You know, that wasn't my words, but I remember your words. Oh, what were they? Of course you do. You have a memory of an elephant.
You said, hold on. You said, I woke up this morning and I can't stop thinking about you.
Oh, that's right. That's exactly right. Thank you for reminding me that. So I said, hey, I'm going to be driving by your place around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Can I just stop by and we can get together for a drink? And so she goes, sure. Right.
Yeah. Well, remember, I was in a boot. I had just had foot surgery.
Oh, that's right. You were in the boot.
So I couldn't go anywhere. So I was like, yeah, come on down. You know.
So she invited me for her place for a drink. And so I left the funeral. I called her up. She kept me company on the drive. I pulled up to her place. I parked my car.
I met you down in the garage.
Oh, you met me down in the garage. Yeah. So we went upstairs to her place and I hadn't been inside for a few minutes. And what I did probably breaks my rules that I talk about for everyone else. So I need to acknowledge that.
Okay.
Well, so
you planted a kiss on me.
I planted a kiss on her. But you have to recognize that we had spent almost 50 hours of telephone calls plus the 5-hour dates that we had together. And the kiss was more just kind of like okay, if there's going to be chemistry, let's find out now, kind of thing.
Like fail fast.
Yeah, fail fast. That's your
yeah.
And not that I did it, but there was also this strong pull because we had built, and I want to be careful by sharing this story because some people experience artificial intimacy.
Yeah.
They create a false sense of attraction because we had no attachment to an outcome.
There was no outcome.
Exactly.
We were just building a friendship.
We were building a friendship that the attraction kept growing since then. And why I wanted to even shoot this video is I said to Paula this morning, think of how many people probably miss out on a fantastic relationship because there wasn't chemistry on the first meet or date. So how was the kiss for you?
That's good, clearly.
Or give me a kiss. I wasn't quite like that, the kiss. But anyway, we ended up spending 5 hours going, oh, shit. What just happened?
Oh, we forgot to talk about we were a stand for the magic.
I don't want to get into that one.
Well, but that's where the line came from.
Okay.
So, all right. So partly on day, whatever that was, let's call it, day one.
The phone calls.
Our phone calls. The conversation that we unpacked about why aren't we attracted to each other? We really enjoyed each other's company, all of those things. And, I don't remember who said it first.
I said
who said it.
Yeah.
We said that we wanted to be a stand for the magic, and what that meant was
we want everything we
wanted everything on our ultimate person list,
plus what we were experiencing.
And what was interesting was what we were experiencing was building our ultimate person list. You know what I mean? And so I think that whole at the end when after he planted the kiss on me that night and whatnot, we're sitting on the couch and he says to me, we've been trying to be a stand for the magic all of this time. And the whole time we've been pulling a rabbit out of a hat.
We've been having the magic this whole time. Yeah.
We've been pulling the rabbit.
So do you remember what I said next?
Yes. So flashback to the moment when he says, gosh, I freaking love you. Right. And I'm like, I love you too. So this is day 11 or whatever, and we're on the couch and we got the first kiss out of the way, and we're, sitting and chit-chatting on the couch, and we talk about being a stand for the magic. And on our way out, we're about to have him go home, and he looks at me and he says, don't take this the wrong way, but I freaking love you. And that was it. I melted. That was.
Well, and what's interesting, thank you. Love, the love is the most written about word in the English language, a perception around love. And what I had in that moment was deep friendship, deep care, deep curiosity, feeling seen by you, feeling heard, understood. I mean, in roughly about 60 plus hours of connection, we had developed something that felt so different than anything else I'd ever experienced. So, and I'll put a bow on all this, is just really quickly, we got together for a real formal date. A week later, I went out of town. We talked on the phone. We talked on the phone another 40 hours before we actually, well, not 40, probably 20 or 30 hours before we had a very nice romantic date. We had another short date, and then we spent the weekend together. And I'll leave that up to your own imagination of what happened. But from that moment on, that, for lack of a better word, fifth date, if you will, we both agreed that we wanted to explore a relationship. Like we wanted to explore a serious relationship. And we read my dating vows, which I don't have it handy here. And for those who know my dating vows, there's a link below to get a copy of it. She thought it was a little corny. I think it was a declaration to be a little bit more intentional.
I mean, I understand it. It's not, it's whether or not somebody's willing to.
I don't care. You know what? You were willing to do it. Okay. So, and if a guy isn't willing to be, and this is the dating vow is predominantly for women to assess a man's sincerity. if someone isn't sincere about it, then I wouldn't have sex with that person, is my, my invitation for everyone. The message in the story, and we'll get ready to take questions in a moment. And I want you to know, we've been reading the comments, very grateful for all the comments that have been shared so far, was that we would have missed out on something really wonderful if we stuck to it has to be off the charts, butterflies, fireworks kind of chemistry. We did have chemistry. It wasn't, and I'm grateful it wasn't let's start with physical chemistry. We started with all the other areas of chemistry: intellectual chemistry, emotional chemistry, spiritual chemistry, creative chemistry. And what I mean is we started with connection. And within that connection, we have friendship. And now, look, I've been doing this for 15 years. And I can honestly say that, I've had multiple relationships with wonderful women who I've deeply cared for. But you and I are like, we're two, I always just say we're two peas in a pod. We're two kids in a sandbox with making mud pies every day. And what I mean is our friendship is what really catapults the balance of our relationship. And I believe that.
And now the through line really is coming from love. We really, that got built on the shoulders of friendship.
Yes. And because we weren't, the physical wasn't fueling it, nor was the entertainment expectation, romance expectation, the physical connection expectation. It wasn't the driving force, and there wasn't any grand expectations around this. And really quickly, I just want to share with everyone, I took you out on a fancy date, or that third time we met. Mm-hmm. The fifth date, she took me to a really nice sushi place, and I'm talking, it was expensive. It was her treat. She said, I want to show my appreciation to you. We have a very, generous reciprocal relationship. It wasn't built on the man is supposed to do this and a woman is supposed to do that.
Which was the reason that whole masculine, feminine conversation started in the first place.
So anyway, that's our story. No chemistry, but great connection. Do this. This is our invitation. If that works for you, great.
In the friend zone.
Well, I always say start in the friend zone. Putting someone in the friend zone means I won't have sex with you. Starting in the friend zone gives the opportunity for something to grow. And that's our invitation for everyone. For those who know my live format, it's time for Q&A. If you have a question, write the word question and then post the question thereafter. Or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat. There's a little $ in the chat box. All the monies from the super sticker, super chat goes to a scholarship fund in the name of my son, Connor Asley. That's a picture of him right there with his brother, Colin. He's my son who passed away 7 years ago in his honor. We donate to causes like the Hoffman Process Insight Institute. And I would love to donate $100. So our goal tonight is $100. Hit that little $ and donate to the Connor Asley Scholarship Fund. Our first question is from our regular Annika, who's in the house. And she says, thank you so much for sharing that story. I'm getting really frustrated with men I come across on the apps. They just want to talk on the apps and not meet up. Your opinion of this and your advice. You go first. You've had this happen.
I have.
Kind of happened with us.
Yeah, it did. I think that it should volley a little bit before you take it off. I think it should volley a little bit. I think
to build a little bit of familiarity or trust or rapport.
Never hurts anyone. You can find out pretty quickly. But the one rule that I started having, and a good friend of mine and I did this, and I thought to much success, was we started doing video dates. It was, they're built into the apps now pretty easily, or some of them anyway. And
we forgot to mention you wanted to do a video chat at first, and I don't know why I didn't. And by the way, I'm a big proponent. Do a video, maybe text each other a few times, do a video chat, and maybe do a follow-up telephone call and then meet. That's kind of my suggestion for people. But Annika, I get that you're frustrated, and just remember there are a lot of people that are on the dating apps for a variety of reasons. Some people just want to hook up. Some people are only capable of situationships. Some people are only capable of friends with benefits. Some people are only capable of casual relationships. I know for a fact you want a serious relationship. And, you know, when you have a opportunity for this, or this mass opportunity to connect with people, this is really, being on the apps requires discernment, requires filtering. In other words, beyond the initial filtering we do. And again, if there's a little bit of rapport, like Paula said, then I recommend taking it to a telephone call. If they're reluctant, there's a 4-letter word. By the way, can you guess what I'm going to say what the 4-letter word is? Next. Next. So that's my opinion on that. I hope that gave you some perspective on it. So thank you for that. Michelle is in the house. Oh, hey, Michelle, sweetheart, how you doing? How do you manage the need for space or quiet self-reflection time when you're living together? You know, for those that know this, we've now been living together for 10, 11 days, 11 days. We haven't reached that point yet. Well, I took off for Super Bowl.
True, and I took off for a couple of hours.
Go ahead. You want to talk about it?
So both of us have been on our own for several years. And, you know, there's something to be said about having that solitude and, you know, in essence, the sovereignty that comes with that, right? And we've talked about, you know, this from the standpoint of like, you know, could I have the house for 4 hours and maybe you go to the coffee shop, or I'll take off and go here and you get the place, you know, that type of thing. And I think it does require a little bit of
intentionality,
intention to put your, you know, to keep that active. I think nobody's designed to be with another person 24/7.
Well, and I'm going to take it another step. You know, we are in a 3-bedroom townhome. We're designing it such that we each have our own. She has a studio because she's an artist. I have an office, but we're also going to create a separate bedroom out of the office because we might need to sleep in separate places. You know, I mean, be apart from one another. Just we're talking about building that in. Many couples are looking to do what's called living together apart, where they're not actually living together, and yet they are in a serious, fully committed relationship. We chose to live together, not because we needed to reduce resources or expenses, although it is one big benefit. But we enjoy each other's company. By the way, folks, I'm semi-retired. Paula is an artist, so she's got her passion. She's semi-retired. So we spend a lot of time together. And Michelle's question is a very valid one. How do you create solitude, or how do you create space? It requires intentionality. And so we're working through that. And I think we should shoot a video on that.
Yeah.
Okay. You up for that? Okay. All right. Angela wants to know, did you pray or repeat affirmations before you found Jonathan?
So such a good question, Angela. So I had my ultimate man list. And as I said, it's gotten different over the years. Do you have a copy of it?
Yeah, I have a copy of it. You keep talking, I'll find it.
And I don't want to do this without like explaining the whole thing, but I have sort of a process that I've done for a lot of things in my life that include visualization and affirmations. And I call it my enchanted journal. And so like a journal that we keep on a daily basis, my enchanted journal talks about things that haven't quite happened yet, but I put them in a future journal entry as if they've already happened. And one of the things that I did for the past, you know, previous 6 months or so before meeting him was that I came from this place of knowing he, my guy, my person, was out there in such a way that I could use all my senses, you know, in the journal entry, things like, this is how I feel when he comes home, you know, the house is warm, the fire is, you know, going, like that type of thing. And
you want to read it?
Oh, that's the ultimate man list part.
Read only like 2 or 3 paragraphs.
Okay.
So the whole thing will take a
few
minutes.
This was my ultimate man list. He is intimate and loving. I'll want to kiss him a lot. He must get my snark and my humor. He should also be able to make me laugh. He's got a mischievous smile and eyes that look a little bad boy, but deep inside are all good. I love his eyes. This is a little different than how he comes from abundance.
Okay.
He can turn on my love machine like no one else. He's generous with money, feelings, communication, honesty, and laughs. He's generous with everything. He's curious about others. I feel like there's always something. He feels like there's always something to learn about people. He's curious about most subjects. He must feel good about who he is, what he does in the world, and how he shows up for it. His work does not have to be powerful, but it must give him a sense of power and place. So it was stuff like that that I had on my ultimate man list. And yes, he hit on all the counts.
What's your nickname for me?
So because he's so curious and I'm curious, my nickname for him is Noodles.
Because I'm always
Noodles every freaking thing.
And what's my nickname for you?
Shags.
Why do I call you Shags?
Because of the hair.
Because of the hair. It's like a shag. All right, let's keep going. By the way, beautiful list. Okay. Regina says, best way to tell a man on a dating app that you don't want too long to meet. Well, my initial reaction is if 2 people live within 1 hour driving distance, you should plan on meeting within, I call it the 3-2-1-3 rule. No more than 3 text or email exchanges should lead to no more than 1 or 2 phone calls that should lead to 1 date, all within 3 weeks. That's my rule of thumb. Okay. So, I mean, in other words, by the time you first connect till the time you meet, it shouldn't take more than 3 weeks. Where this gets tricky, Regina, is in the long distance dynamic. So I'm going to address the ones that are short distance. Just simply say, hey, can we get on a phone call to, build some familiarity with one another? And during the phone call, would you like to meet? Now, if the man doesn't initiate it, it's okay that the woman initiates. It's not going to make his penis shrink up in intimidation that you make the overture. Look, today's woman, today's man, very familiar with pushing, or creating the opportunities to meet. You could simply say, hey, you know what? We've spent a few times on the phone. Would you be up for meeting? If not, I'm going to disconnect from communication. You don't need to
a pen pal.
Yeah, you don't need a pen pal. You don't need a cyber relationship. So just ask. And if they're not interested or they're busy, just say, hey, reach out to me when you're ready to meet. Okay. Just as simple as that. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree.
Okay. Annika is very sweet and just gave us a $10 super sticker. Thank you for the love. We appreciate you. All right. JoJo's in the house. What is your opinion? My thought is that when physical chemistry is the dominant chemistry, that's lust and not the best start for a relationship. Well, the bodies are buried from here to the moon of people that experience that very same thing. I think lust clouds judgment. I think limerence clouds judgment. I think it blocks the opportunity to build friendship. And now, coming back
does it block it?
You have to jump through a few more hoops. Okay. Because if you leave, listen, I know people have had sex on the first date and they're happily married. Right. I mean, and they were probably driven by lust or limerence. This is the tricky part. When a man puts a woman in a friend zone, like I'm not going to sleep with you, or a woman does that. Well, let me rewind what I'm about to say, and I want your opinion on this. Men oftentimes need physical attraction to pursue.
Okay.
We're driven biologically to spread our seed.
Women do too.
Well, but women, I've heard it said by Dr. Pat Allen, men fall in love through their eyes and women fall in love between their ears.
I'd say there's.
Okay, so we need more of that physical connection. It's rare that like someone would say, "Oh, you're not my type," and then continue to connect with you. I didn't realize that what was being built was a deeper connection than the ones that have been built through lust or limerence. What was the question now? I lost track.
Is it the best start for a relationship?
It's not the best,
it's not the best.
But it's certainly, by the way, like a broken clock, it works twice a day. Here's my thing is, before the penis goes inside the vagina, build trust.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think trust.
Why don't you talk about how you felt? Did you trust me by the time we were physically intimate?
Oh, yes.
Do you trust me more now, or is it close to how you felt back then?
Close to how I felt back then. I went into trust with you before anything else.
Yeah. And that's been my predominant message predominantly to women is before you're physically intimate, make sure you feel safe physically, but more importantly, you feel like you can trust this person. And trust isn't just about fidelity. Trust is, does this person have my best interest at heart?
Well, and I mean, I've certainly had a couple of circumstances where I didn't heed that advice. And certainly I think what the end result is that, if you're doing something that is solely reliant on physical chemistry, then maybe expect that might be the outcome.
What is it? If you never mind. By the way, our things are getting caught here. Okay. So here's Annika's question really quickly. How did you create the ultimate man list? Is there a formula? Love that name. Can I interject here?
Yeah.
I'm trying to convince Paula that we do a workshop together to teach this. Would you be up for doing that someday?
I would maybe.
Okay. So we can't answer that right now, Annika, but I'm telling you, we're thinking about doing a workshop, or we'll do a teaser video.
Give a big global.
Give the 40,000.
I think, Angela, that it is. It was really important to me. At one time in my younger years, let's just say, different things were important to me. And I mean, my mother used to say, the guy you look at 20 is going to be a lot different than the guy you look at 40 and the guy you look at 60. Right?
Okay.
So that list changed quite a bit over the years, also from experience, and every time it's kind of like, if you're a landlord, you change your lease agreement, based on your experiences, because, over time you have these experiences and you realize, well, I don't want that. I want this, so that was part of it was, experiential, but more than anything, I realized it had little to do with who they were out in the world per se, and more to do with how I felt when I was with them. And that's kind of how it ended up.
And if anyone goes back and rewinds the way she read her ultimate man list, you can hear her talk about her feelings, like it's how you felt about being with this person. And I would encourage everyone to really sit with, what do you want to feel in this experience called dating, mating, and relating? What is it you want to feel? And really lean into the feelings. I would say you wanted to feel, I'm going to say grounded, calm, safe, passionate. I'm picking words for you. So, I mean, I'm not putting words in your mouth.
Yeah.
But I know sensational, excited, enthusiastic, and really sit with the feelings that you want to experience when you're cultivating or creating yours before you do our workshop that we're going to do together at some point. So, okay. Angela's back in the house and she says, why do you think the universe didn't bring you and Jonathan together when you were young, Paula?
We joke about this.
We just talked about this, didn't we?
You know that that joke where the guy is, he's lost at sea, and the boat, the rowboat comes along.
No, it's a flood. It's the flood.
I don't
know
the joke. I'm screwing it up, but you get the point. Like
really quickly, the rowboat comes along, the powerboat comes along, the helicopter comes along.
And finally, he's like, God, why have you forsaken me? And all of a sudden, from the helicopter. I haven't forsaken you. I sent the rowboat. I sent the helicopter. I sent the...
No, that's what happens at the pearly gates.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. I'm going to...
We're screwing up.
Okay.
The point is, I think we've had a lot of circumstances, you know, our paths have probably crossed
a couple
10 times before. I mean, knowing even the group that we've been in and whatnot. Yeah.
I think, awesome. Well, I want to answer this. We weren't meant to meet in our 20s and 40s. And by the way, officially, she's only 6 months younger than me. I know she looks a lot younger than me. We're in the 6-0 category.
But if I met you 5 years ago, I don't think
my point is I had to go through my experiences, my marriage. You went through your marriage, my significant second relationship, your significant second relationship, my significant third relationship, which, you know, people on YouTube, you know, I was on videos with her. You had your significant third relationship. Those relationships were preparing us for each other. Even a couple of my skirmishes, you know, and the hit and runs were all preparing me. And that's a little inside joke. Yeah. So I don't think I don't know if we would have been right for each other in our 20s.
No idea.
I don't know. Anyway, that's all right. Annika's back in the house. Jonathan and Paula. Last guy didn't want to do a phone or video call, said he wanted to meet me eventually, but talked and forgot 2 weeks. I couldn't go past that. But we talked, forgot. Did you talk?
Oh, maybe for about 2 weeks.
For about that. Well, he said he wanted to meet eventually. Just, you know, my belief system, and you were kind of this way. Look let's get onto you wanted to get on a phone call. Let's do this or not.
I do like to, you know.
I'm like, look, I don't need a pen pal. And what's interesting is, folks, I want to come back to our original conversation. We talked on a Saturday and met on a Sunday. Like, I'm not looking to create a pen pal speaking for weeks. I believe if you have 3 or 4 exchanges, text message exchanges, to build some rapport, and I mean 3 separate. You could have a dialogue for an hour on one, a dialogue for an hour on another, and a dialogue, you know, could be at a different time. But by the 3rd time, it's like, look, if you don't want to meet, then listen, I've got other people that want to meet me. I mean, I'd rather just be upfront saying, look, if you're not ready to meet, reach out to me when you're ready. Otherwise, there's no need to create this, you know, ongoing dialogue. And look, if a guy is too chicken shit to want to connect with you, then don't invest anymore in that. I mean, I know I was being kind of crass there when I said chicken shit. Yeah. But anyway, okay, that's my feeling on that. You agree?
I do.
Okay. Yeah. Deborah's in the house. I'm curious about your extra room for either one of you need space. What inspired that? Well, technically, we don't have an extra room. It'd be nice if we had a 4-bedroom place.
Well, so I am a sucky sleeper. So there's that. I really don't.
Sucky sleeper.
Well, I don't. I'm a very light sleeper.
Oh, light sleeper. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so that's sort of the start of the idea. But, you know, I feel like creating space that can go beyond, you know, the living space we have together it can only.
Yeah, but once your studio is done, you're going to have your own space when you're painting and stuff like that. Look before we moved in together, I went to your couch and slept a bunch of times. It's like, we're going to figure it out. I think we will figure out the need to create space within the dynamic. And keep in mind, we're both, you know, semi-retired here. We built-in time. A lot of couples, they drive off to work, they go places, they have already built-in time. They have time built in, separate time built into their existing relationship.
To get to the heart of the question, she said, what inspired that? And I think it comes from that we're both coming from a very what we feel is a sovereign place. Like where we have both come from is a place that we didn't need to be with someone else, we want to be.
Yeah.
And so I think that the inspiration isn't about getting away from the other person. It's more of how to find yourself in that space.
Yes. Good. Thanks for cleaning up what I just said. And I meant that sincerely. She does that a lot.
It's my job.
It's your job. Make me a Toronto Star. Should I send a message to my coworker? I'm interested on LinkedIn and ask him if he's trying to hit on me or flirt with me. We rarely see each other alone to ask in person.
Oof.
You know,
office romance.
Pardon me?
Office romance.
You know, I have mixed feelings on that, because if you throw a dart against the wall, you know, and it doesn't land, you know.
Is there some way you could do this where it could be an offer without an offer?
By the way, do you know when a man is hitting on you?
I mean, it can have some gray area, especially coming from an office worker.
You know what? Here's my feeling. If he's interested, just like when I woke up that morning and said, you know what, I want to move the, what did I say?
I can't stop thinking.
I can't stop thinking about you. I want to move this forward.
When a guys don't have that.
Well, then they're pussies. Excuse me. You know, either you know, like, listen, because this is where it gets really tricky. In the we watch Mad Men. You know how many office romances we saw there. Look at if he's sincere, he's going to say, let's get together for coffee. I don't think you should initiate this one. Let him make the overture. And because keep in mind, you're in a professional environment. By the way, why do you have to talk on LinkedIn?
Because she rarely sees him in person. So can I differ?
Okay.
I know it's your channel, but I'm going to differ. I actually think that if you can create a circumstance, you know, the verbiage in, you know, your outreach to him, or her, sorry, I'm not knowing, that if you were to reach out and say, look, I know we work together and, you know, this may not be copacetic, and I just thought I'd put myself forward here and see if there was something to pursue. And if not, I totally get it. You know, like if you're
like
just
no
really
harm, no foul.
Yeah. If you just sort of put it out there, I don't think you have anything to lose.
Or you can just say, hey, let's get together for coffee one day.
Or that.
Make it simple.
Why wait for him or her to, you know, come forward? Why not be the person to do it? He could be.
I get that, but it's a work environment. It gets a little messy. That's why I want to err on the side of protect your job more than right now. This could all be a projection on her part.
Yeah.
So if it's a projection on her part, you don't want, like I said, throw a dart and find out you hit someone.
That's
you know,
true.
kind of thing. Just say, hey, you know what? We're both we're both in the same business. Have you ever thought about getting coffee one day? And then see what happens then. That could be something more benign.
Yeah, it's like an
I wouldn't want her to say, are you trying to hit on me? That's I wouldn't want that to be the overture.
Yeah.
Are you trying to hit on me? Because boy, you're taking a risk there. And like I said, it could be a projection on you.
And then the question becomes, do you want him to hit on you?
Yeah. Well, right? I'm getting the
sense.
I think she does. I think she does. Okay. Let's keep going here. We only have a few more minutes left, sweetheart. How do you build trust in a relationship? Carefully. Through vulnerability, through authenticity, through transparency. And what we did was we talked about our past. We talked about how we got to where we are at today as a human being. Like, you know, we shared our life experience, and because we were in the friends, we started in the friend zone. We didn't have to play the game of, you know, being the ambassador of our best selves at first.
Yeah.
We shared about our past. We talked about where we are, and I was telling her about a woman I was talking to on a dating app, you know, and saying, what do you think? Kind of thing. And we talked about where do we want to go? That's kind of our through line. How did we get here? Where are we, and where do we want to go? Mm-hmm. In fact, I would say we still do that very much. We talk about our relationship as a separate container. We talk about our relationship frequently.
But based on not what we don't want, but what we want.
what we want and why that's so important. I know so many women are in relationship with men and they never talk about their I told you about my last 2 relationships. We never really talked about the relationship. We talked about the things we did and we talked about the things in our life, but we didn't talk about the sacred container of our relationship. We do this every single day. We visit our relationship from a place of how did we get here? Where are we? And where do we want to go? You know, we have a lot more questions. We're not going to be able to get to it all.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. Folks, what did I do that makes sense? Let's see. Ambassador of our best selves. I just said that. Okay, this will be our last question for the evening. Question from Annie. I know we aren't to make anything of text messages. However, my crush is quiet a day or 2, then text something in the morning like he watched a movie last night, etc. Well, a crush oftentimes is a projection about another person.
She's calling him or her a crush. So I would say that's her crush. That's her perception. So
I get that. But what the danger of that is to create a story about the future that isn't based on what's happening today. You text each other a couple times a day. What are you texting? How's your day going? Did you have a good day? I hope you had a good day. Or are you talking about...
He said crush goes quiet for a day or 2 and then text something in the morning like I watched a movie last night.
Okay, so this is what I've observed with human behavior today because of these fucking devices, okay? We create artificial communication because we have a significant population desperately want connection, but incapable of real closeness, incapable of going deeper into relationship, incapable. I'm not saying everyone, I'm just saying a population, is that they want some connection, they want some companionship, they want some physical intimacy without the capacity to go deeper.
That I'm going to just say, I mean, I've had that experience and it's called breadcrumbing.
Exactly.
There's no way, there's
well, that's what I'm talking about. So it's breadcrumb of connection.
Is it enough for you, Annie? Is it enough? That's the big question.
Yeah. And if you want something more, then have a serious conversation. That's what we did. That's this whole video is about, is that we had these deeper conversations so we could have clarity on where we're both at. And that's the message I want everyone to recognize, that when you're having a breadcrumb conversation, you have no idea what the other person is feeling, what their desire, what they really want in their life until you start having deeper conversations. Paula has something called the AND game. You can get it online and it asks these deeper questions. I have the intimacy cards that you can get to find out where someone is at. Again, you want to find out how did they get to where they're at, where are they now, and where do they want to go if you want a significant romantic relationship.
When you say that, you mean like what's their intention?
What's their intention? Yeah. Let's see where we're at. Oh my God, we got so much love, sweetheart.
We're gonna have to come back.
Are you willing to come back?
I'll come back.
You'll come back? Okay. Folks, no chemistry, but great connection. I think we're living proof of maybe we didn't feel that magic or spark at first, the perception of that, but what we had was something even deeper, and that is we really connected at a heart-centered level, at a friendship level. And I can tell you, I'm experiencing in my life, it's like I've bitten into a watermelon and the juice is just dripping down my face. That's how sweet it is with you. Because we have a really solid friendship, which is we share the same values, we have the same shared vision, we have lifestyles that are compatible, we have great physical intimacy, and we have strong emotional maturity. And we have a ton of laughter. I mean, we crack each other up all day long. And I got to say, that's the best part of our relationship for me.
It is me too.
Did you have fun?
Yeah.
You going to do it again?
I'll do it again.
Okay. Everyone, thanks for the donate. Oh, by the way, you have a few more minutes. Donate to the Connor Aslay Scholarship Fund. Hit that little $sign if you found,
in there.
if you find value in what we shared. I'd love to donate some money. We'll get Paula back on again real soon. Thank you for all the love. I hope you got value out of this video. Wishing you all a super duper wonderful evening. Be well. Thanks. Bye now. Bye-bye. Bye.